Highlander Trail. This project seeks to improve health, mental and physical, both mental and physical health for Huntington High students and the wider community who may use the trail. Further, it is a way to give back to their alma mater and beautify their school.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ever since an early age, Americans have always been instructed to spend time outside. And my teachers have always told me that at least 30 minutes a day was crucial and necessary for my health and well-being. In elementary schools and even some middle schools, recess is a mandatory time for children to explore the outdoors and play in the sunshine. So why are the outdoors so emphasized in our society? According to Dr. Melinda Bossenmeyer with Peaceful Playgrounds Incorporated, recess is important because it serves as a necessary break from the rigors of concentrated academic challenges in the classroom. It also offers cognitive, social, emotional, and physical benefits that may not be fully appreciated. However, this break in the day is taken away in high school, and this emphasis and push is totally diminished, and students are instead stuck inside classrooms from sunrise to sunset.
Since overcoming the pandemic, we as a community and as a world altogether have struggled mentally and both physically. I have noticed this firsthand in how my peers have suffered in one way or another from mental illness, abandoned their physical routines, especially in our home of Huntington, West Virginia. The drug abuse is the center of our world, and it feels almost inescapable. Our generation of students today are the ones who have grown up in this area filled with drugs and all these sorts of problems, and it has led to a major increase in youth trauma in our state. Seeing this as a nature to find a possible solution to the major issue, we were led to our Senior Passion Project. This increase in mental and physical depletion among youth can be healed and restored by adding an emphasis on the outdoors.
Right, so first, before we discuss our project, we want to discuss its concentrations to our research, in which I studied the mental health effects of nature. So the central concept that connects nature and mental health are the ideas of a restorative environment and these types of fascination. So this began with the attention restoration theory, which suggests that there are certain environments that either restore or deplete emotional and functional resources. And researchers saw that although fascination is effortless, not all types are equally restorative to the mind. And these two types are described as hard and soft, where hard fascination, such as television and video games, grab the attention and is hard to resist. Whilst entertaining, this type of fascination is not necessarily restorative. Nature falls under soft fascination, whilst also capturing attention effortlessly, does not completely occupy the mind, which leaves headspace for emergence of unrelated thoughts and for reflection. And their findings through this theory have been used to treat many mental disorders such as ADHD, PTSD, and chronic stress. And the connection we can make here is that these became more prominent in recent years, and especially over the pandemic, when we didn't have much access to nature and its restorative properties. Next, many scholars and scientists explored this idea and connected it to color psychology. Psychiatrist Kurt Goldstein concluded that the colors such as green and blue were posited to be relaxing, to encourage an inward focus, and to produce calm and stable action. Seeing that an environment of green and blue can prompt reflection and calmness, it can also prompt restoration just as nature does. This indicates how schools and office walls cannot provide that same effect, and why so many people today need to explore nature and explore the outdoors more often. Everything we've experienced through the COVID-19 pandemic has also caused many people to develop mental issues and issues with their mental health. And this made them feel a need to be distracted. So because of isolation and loneliness, we indulged ourselves in things such as television and social media because they would totally distract us. And according to a survey conducted in 2020, there was a 50 to 70% increase in internet use during the pandemic. However, we indulged on the internet at the expense of our mental health because we wanted to be distracted from everything going on in the world. And these effects are still prevalent today. As these now common environments are depleting our youth, this especially recent connection sparked our desire to heal them.
So to move on from the mental, we will now go on to the physical benefits. So this allows for 3 points. The first one is it allows for more exercise to be promoted. So as we know, during COVID, we were not able to exercise as much due to people not having access to gyms, or being able to go outside due to being afraid of possibly getting sick, or basically not being able to as well. So by having these Highlander trails and by having the trails here, it also allows for exercise to be promoted as well as the cross-country team for Mr. Cox and other people to use, because as we know, many of these trails are used each time there's a meet, and it's also a very exciting thing to see people running under an arch. That is pretty interesting to see because you don't see this in a lot of other places. and also goes to healthier lifestyles, because the healthier lifestyles come from exercise. And as we know, more people go with weight gain, stuff from other issues as well. And these healthier lifestyles are promoted because these issues are prevented by having the highlighter trail. Because without these issues will only become worse. Because for nearly a year and a half, these issues were not able to be solved due to all the barriers that we faced as a country and as a world. Also, it allowed for more opportunities. So this didn't lead to more opportunities just outside of exercise, but as well at Highlander night. So as we explained, the outdoor classrooms are used more. Back before COVID in the late 2010s, we used them more for more learning. They have been abandoned in the past few years because of COVID, and many teachers don't use them as much. So by having the trails and seeing more promotion with the trails, this allows for these to be used. And it gives more excitement because people can go outside and have class instead of just being inside in a classroom the entirety of the day, which can be a little bit tedious and boring and repetitive. Because as we know, many people suffer other impacts as well, such as sedentary lifestyles, and have also have despondent attitudes among life. And this leads to mental health issues, as I'll explain. And I've seen this firsthand as well, as I'm sure all of you have as well. So many people I know have suffered from these issues, so this brought a great idea to benefit others. Overall, having these trails allows for exercise to be promoted, healthier lifestyles to improve, there's more opportunities to exercise, and as well as improve the overall environment of HHS. Because outside of this, within the trails, as we explained, the outdoor classrooms can be used more. So now move on to before we go on to the aspects, this shows how me and Ella are doing sports. As I played in high school, used to play high school baseball, and Ella used to run track in middle school. This shows the kind of exercise that we do, and these kind of activities can be promoted more as well. Because having these trails can promote for cross country, like I've explained, as well as practices as well for other teams to use them if they want to just condition or get faster.
So these ideas are what drew us to our passion project. And we first intended to draw attention to the opportunities that we have here at Huntington High School to spend time outdoors. And so after our initial ideas failed at the beginning of the year, we decided to team up to clear the trails at Huntington High and make it an exciting place to be and visit. So this was the passion that we brought to our project, that the students that walk the halls of our high school and the people of Huntington, West Virginia are hurt, are stressed, and are unhappy, which is why we wanted to propose this solution. In order for us to add this emphasis, we wanted to increase awareness of the trails at Huntington High by building an arch, benches, and adding a map. So since we are not construction experts, we wanted to utilize all the help we could get.
So this is here our first really model of a map here that we used for the beginning of our project. And this had the arch, the map, the benches, and the concrete used by the Cavalcante Votech Center. So we had to go through a couple of processes in order to make this happen. So we first had to talk to the administrators to make sure that we had full approval of this. Luckily, they were very supportive of this and approved us to do this project. So this also moved on to having to find a mentor. So we decided that we wanted to have someone in the school to be our mentor because we could bypass any other issues of getting off the hill, talking to other people. So we decided to go talk to Mr. Fuller, who is the 10th grade principal at Huntington High School. Me and Ella went and saw him in his office and brought him this idea. And he was very thrilled and was very interested in helping us. We were very fortunate to have him to help us. So after talking to him, we were able to get finances in order to talk with other schools because we didn't have the funds to pay for the materials when we first started because we hadn't done any fundraising. So that's when we led to calling many different businesses so we could relocate funds so we can fund this project as best as we could. And luckily we got in contact with Mr. Hugh Roberts, who is the carpentry teacher at the Cavalcante Career Technical Center, who was very in support of helping us with our project. And we met with them in the winter, and he was able to help us get the supplies we needed for a very good price. And that when we had to plan a time for them to come build the project on the hill as it's sitting.
All right, so next we had to interact with many people inside and outside of the school to really orchestrate this project and bring so many different people together. So first, we, thank you people inside the school, we first spoke to the cross-country coach, Mr. Cox, and I actually have him as a student, so I was able to talk to him during class sometimes. Sometimes he would just walk up to me and ask me about the project. But he was the one who actually created this map for us, and this was the very rough map. It came straight from a satellite image because all of the other images we realized didn't actually include the entirety of the trails in the school. And so what he actually did for us was since he runs these trails very often, he actually drew it from memory, because he was just like, you know, you turn here, you go this way, and then you pop out right here. It was fascinating to me. And then also with people inside the school, we also talked to Mrs. Main, who is in the art department, and she's over a lot of the painting classes, and so we spoke to her about really making the sign, the metal sign that you see on here on the top right, make it very inviting and welcoming. And what exactly we wanted to do was to have a very bright and welcoming sign, so people would drive up and that would be one of the first things that they see when they get to the top of the hill. And even after the first day, when people found out that there was like this new big sign, I remember a bunch of people like walking up to me and they're like, did you see that like huge yellow sign on the hill? Like, what's going on with that? And I was very, very happy to see that we were able to draw some attention to that, that there were trails at the school, because not a lot of people knew that they were there.
So this moves on to the project days. April 20th, which was like a couple weeks ago, was when the Cabell County Career Votech Center came and built this project. So as you can see, a lot of students. Now they also come from Huntington High and Cabell Midland. So we were able to encompass kids from all over the entire county, not just Huntington High, but Cabell Midland. Now usually Votech has more kids from Midland than Huntington High, so it was nice getting able to have a diverse amount of kids to see how the culture will work, not only outside of Huntington High, but also other schools within our county. So they came in the morning, they worked basically the whole morning and really enjoyed themselves, getting out of the classroom, getting to do many projects, because they don't get a lot of time to do projects outside of school. So this was a really good lesson for them, because Mr. Roberts during this process also taught them other ways to do the project, which made their work much easier as well as faster.
What especially made us really happy to see was that the second all of these kids got off the bus, they were so thrilled to be able to build something outside of their normal classroom. And although they work in a warehouse and they have a very hands-on kind of learning environment, they don't have too many opportunities to get on a school bus, travel outside of their building, and get to work. And throughout the time that they were working, they were there for hours doing a lot of hard labor. They really enjoyed their time at Huntington High, and that's what we were really thankful for, was that how rewarding it was to see how the students were enjoying their work and enjoying working with these tools and seeing this entire idea come to fruition in one day.
So then, just last week, we had a couple of different events at school just in one day. We had, one morning, we had a senior sunrise. This usually takes place every year, but it didn't happen until the end of the year due to all the craziness of the year it's been. So we were able to get a lot of students to come out and do the senior sunrise, and a lot of them are sitting here, and we really appreciate everyone who came out and participated in this. We had, I'd say 20 to 25 kids come, which was really great. So then, just later that day, we had our health class, which Coach Harbert allowed us to bring his class out. And the reason we asked Coach Harbert is because we wanted to encompass all grades, because health classes usually have freshmen, even though we're some of the only seniors in health class, which is probably not a good idea to take health at that stage, but whatever works. But it was nice to have a different, diverse amount of students, not just 9th, but 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Then lastly, in the afternoon, we brought our AP Literature class out here to take pictures as well. And this was actually in the outdoor classroom, which we were able to go see. Now, a lot of people were surprised of how it looked because it hadn't been used in a long time. So it was really interesting to get the class in the outdoor classroom. We hope that not just these pictures, will also promote the outdoor classrooms as well as the trails.
Yeah, and this was especially important for us, especially with the AP Literature students, because we just had our AP exam. And I know a lot of the honors program students and a lot of us seniors just went through AP exam week, and it's a very, very stressful time. And so I think that especially shows how my research encompassed, came into this project as well, because all of these stressful times were really solved by just taking a nice walk around the school. So when it comes to our goals for this project, one primary goal that we incorporated as much as we could was to include Cabell County students within this process. And we did this mainly because we wanted it to be about an entirely student-led project, since students would benefit from these additions to the trails the most. And this would also be useful to these students because we wanted to give them the opportunity to gain that experience. As we talked about with the Cabell County Career Technical Center, we wanted to use their work and rely on their work of the carpentry and welding departments rather than a local company, because we wanted to help them as they helped us by allowing them to do what they love and enjoy for the benefit of others.
And our second goal was our overall goal to promote mental and physical health by incorporating the research that we've explained. So again, I'd like to tie this back to COVID, that we really wanted to improve the well-being of not only the students in Huntington High, but those outside of Huntington High to help their mental and physical health. In case anybody was suffering from any kind of illness, we wanted to improve that as the best we could.
And then lastly, we wanted to make it our overall goal to make Huntington High School a better place. A passion project is defined as a creative side project inspired by one's deeper meaning or desire for a better world. And after 4 years at Huntington High School, we have gained that desire to improve our school and leave something there that would benefit students to come. And we feel that through this project, we have accomplished just that.
So on the project day, we were very fortunate enough to reach out to the Herald Dispatch, and they were able to come and interview us and take lots of pictures, and not only us, but the kids working and all these sites we had. So we also reached out to WSAZ, but luckily unfortunately they weren't able to come either, but we were very fortunate the Herald Dispatch came. So when they came, they asked us certain questions of our project research, our research angles, and what our overall goals were. So this was really a fun experience because we honestly were not expecting them to actually show up because, I mean, we know that they have a lot of different things they have to do during the day. So it was really exciting when they came and interviewed us. And we also interviewed a couple of the students and the carpentry teacher, Mr. Roberts. So this was actually last week. This was in the newspaper, and we were very fortunate to be able to find this newspaper article and be interviewed.
So the research and information discussed today has made completing this project so meaningful to both Ben and I. And we hope that through our newly gained knowledge and our challenging work, we will be able to inspire others to explore the restorative effects of nature and how they can improve their physical health through it. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "The lover of nature is he whose inward and outward senses are still truly adjusted to one another, who has retained the spirit of infancy even into the era of manhood." As my peers and I begin to emerge into adulthood and go our separate ways, wherever that may be, transcendentalist thought confirms that nature is beneficial to us in every way. It keeps us sane, it keeps us balanced. And this fact made this project so meaningful to us.
Before we close out, we'd like to have multiple thank yous. We'd first like to really start with Mr. Fuller. Without him, this project would not be possible because he was our mentor and led us every step. And without him, we would not have been able to do this and have the support we have from him. We'd also like to thank Glenn Sports Shop for their generous donation to this project for our fundraising, as well as Queen Hardware and Mr. Rob Ellis, who is the manager there, for helping us get the supplies we needed at a very reasonable price. We'd also like to thank Martin Mary Lane and Lane Consulting for a very generous donation to help us pay for these supplies that were donated by King Queen. We'd also like to thank Mr. Roberts and the Cabo County Career Medical Center for all their work and all their help, because without them, this would not have been able to be built. And we'd also like to thank Scott Shoemate for his support and the donor for our project. So everybody that we've had really made a difference in this project. And without any of these people, we would not have been able to make this possible. And lastly, we'd also like to thank my mom, Mrs. McElroy, for all of her hard work with this project and all of her hard work with this honor program, because without her work, we would not be able to have this event, and we would not be able to have honor program at Huntington High School. So one last remark before we leave. We would like to hope that this arch will remain on the high school grounds following our graduation, and hope it will last. And that someone will discover the importance and beauty of our planet and the beauty of this and how it will actually make Huntington High a beautiful place. Once again, thank you.
I was trying to avoid the questions. Okay, are there any questions? Oh, sorry.
Back row here. How did your perception and understanding of career technical education change as a result of this collaborative effort in the project?
I think it was especially important to me. I didn't really have much of an idea of what that kind of education was to some people, because I'm more used to just being stuck in a room, doing a lot of book work, reading my textbooks, and I didn't understand the importance of those kinds of jobs and the education that it takes for them. And I think it made me especially happy to see how rewarding it was for those children and those students. And I think that was what made it especially important for us, to see how rewarding those jobs are, and also what can come out of them and these amazing, beautiful projects that we kind of tried to orchestrate. And that's all I have.
To add on to that, a lot of times in Huntington High we see a lot of stereotype of the kids who are at Votech usually, I mean, we have not very nice stereotypes are usually made about them. So we actually got to meet them and talk with them, and they're really some of the nicest people you'll meet. And they were very hard work